Answer that yes, I am dating someone, she would fire me with 10 other questions. And if I answered that I am not dating anyone this Valentine's, I knew what the other question would be. She would say, will you date me this Valentine's? So the first thing I faced was a challenge. Her question itself was a challenge to me. But let me tell you, why did I know that if I answered no, I'm not dating someone, her next question would be, will you date me this Valentine's? That is confidence. I was confident about myself. That is self-confidence. And even though I had confidence, there was a fear in me. मलाई डर थियो. The fear was fear for criticism. कहीं मेरो आलोचना त हुँदैन, यो कुराको डर थियो मलाई. If I answer something, I might be criticized. I might be criticized by people who I know, by the society, by my guardians, by my teachers. So that fear was there in me. And what I had to do there was give a conscious answer. Be conscious enough. So I talked about 4 things here. And my whole speak up today, my interaction with you here would be around these 4 things. I am not a motivational guru. I am not a spiritual guru. But what I can do is I can just share with you my knowledge, whatever I have learned till today. And to do that in 30 minutes, it was a big challenge. So I thought, why not take you around these 4 things? The first thing, confidence. The second thing I would like to talk about is challenge. The third thing I would like to talk about is consciousness, living with consciousness. And the fourth thing that I would like to talk about is criticism, which we all fear about, we are all frightened of. Let's say confidence. Let me start with confidence. What is confidence? Can someone tell me from the audience, what is confidence? Any answer? That is confidence. Confidence is saying that he doesn't know. That is confidence. Any other answer? Confidence is knowledge. Any other answer? That is confidence for sure. So, we might be having a lot of qualities in us. We might be having a lot of qualifications. We might be having a lot of attributes in our personality. But all these qualifications, experience, attributes, our character, all these just become a shadow if we lack confidence. You might have met different people and the very first sight you say, you मान्छे confident छ, you मान्छे बोल्दाखेरि यसको confidence देखिन्छ. And there might be a similar guy in front of you who's as educated or let's say more educated than this person, but he lacks in confidence. And then when you have to choose amongst two, you choose the confident guy or the confident girl. So, what I want to say is, this is something that separates average leaders from great leaders. And here, I know you people are here to get a lot of motivation, to get some inspiration in life. And I would tell you, the first thing you carry with you and the foremost thing you carry with you all your life is confidence. Try to be confident. And the good news guys, the good news is that this is something that can be acquired, that can be learned, that can be practiced. It is not something that you inherit. It is not something that you cannot get in your life. It is not something that you really need to see for or you really need to copy. It is something that comes with practice, that comes within you. And it does not take much time. It does not take much time. This is the good news. And there is a mistake sometimes that people make. Let's say youth or even adults. The mistake that we make with confidence is that we think that being very aggressive is being very confident, which is completely wrong. Being aggressive, you see at times, I was told not to talk about politics, but Pardon me for that. At times you see politicians giving speeches and they are very aggressive with their speeches. At times you see employees being treated in a very aggressive manner by their boss, by the CEOs, or by the president of the organization. But this aggressiveness does not come out of confidence. Rather, I would say this aggressiveness is a weapon to cover up the fact that the person is not confident enough. A confident person is not aggressive. A confident person is gentle, he's polite, and he knows how to communicate in a simple way to the other person. Now, I told you, you have to carry this weapon of confidence all the time. But how do you do it? The first thing to carry this confidence with you is to impress yourself. Are you people impressed with yourself? How many of you think you are impressed with yourself? And what does it take? What does it take to be impressed with yourself? आफैसँग impress हुन त केही पनि छैन नि. म छु मेरो impression त म impress हुन सक्छु. But there we lack. At times we are not impressed with ourselves, and that somehow undermines our capacity to become self-confident. The first lesson, be impressed with yourself. Be impressed with what you are, be impressed with your originality, be impressed with you first and foremost. The other thing, linked to good feelings, like in life there are situations where you don't come across pleasant things. जीवनमा सधैँ खुशियालीकै घडी आउँदैन. निकै स्ट्रगलहरू आउँछ, निकै अवरोधहरू आउँछन् जीवनमा. So how do you tackle these things? You have to have good feelings in you. And to have good feelings, I know it is very challenging to have good feelings. राम्रो feeling आफू भित्र ल्याउन निकै गाह्रो हुन्छ. त्यसैले there is a mechanism to do that. You have to know how you shift from present to past and from present to future, or from past to future, or from past to present. You could be in a very grueling session, you could be in a very challenging situation, you could be in pain right now at your present. But that pain can kill you, that pain can actually undermine your capacity to deal with the problems. So what do? You try to remember when in past, which year you did something big. When was the good time that you celebrated with your friends, with your family, with someone? And that is how you shift. You shift your presence from present to past. Or if you don't have a beautiful past, what do? You try to envision future. Envisioning future, dreaming about big things, dreaming about good times, dreaming about pleasant times is one way to shift from present to future. So until and unless you master this art of shifting yourself from present to past, past to future, present to future, you are not able to have good feelings in yourself. So one thing you have to learn from here is to learn how to shift yourself in different tenses. And another thing I would like to talk to you is you cannot do something unless and until you connect yourself with your core values. हामी केही काम गर्न चाहन्छौं तर त्यो काम मात्र टुङ्ग्याउनको लागि सकाउनको लागि काम गर्दैनौं. There is some values attached with that thing. What is your core value? You have to identify. म के चीज के को लागि गरिरहेको छु, मेरो उपलब्धि के हो, र finally where do I reach and what value it adds to what I am doing. If I am giving you a 30 minutes of boring lecture here or a speech here, I should be very considerate about the fact that what value I am adding here. When I feel that if the 30-minute speech is going to be very boring, very technical, I know that I will not add any value to your inspiration, to your level of motivation. So I have to make sure that what I am doing adds value to your lives. And if you are able to take 10% of what I say, or even let's say 5% of what Mr. Saunak Bhatta tells you here, I think we add value, I think we are successful, and the event is successful here. The second thing I talked about was challenges. Chunauti. You saw that girl indirectly asked me for a date. That was a challenge to me. And at times we fail to face or tackle challenge. Chunauti ko samana garna athwa chunauti सँग खेल्न हामी कहीं न कहीं चुकिरहेका हुन्छौं. The reason, as a famous writer, Mr. Maxwell said, that when we overcome, the best way to overcome challenges is to not make the challenges small. चुनौतीलाई सानो बनाउने हैन, rather make ourselves big. हामी आफूलाई ठुलो बनाऊ, चुनौती भन्दा ठुलो बनाऊ. That is how we can overcome challenges. We get a lot of challenges in our life, but at times we think that, oh my God, this is something so big. This is not for me. This is not what I can do with the help of my guardians, my teachers, or with what knowledge I have. No. But the secret is that to make yourself bigger than the challenge. Now, how do we make ourselves bigger than the challenge? Youth, 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 youth. Every time, everywhere you read about youth, you listen about youth, and then you say youth is the power, youth is driving this nation. But what is youth? What is youth? That is something you should understand. Youth in Nepal are everyone who belongs to the age group 16 to 40. Youth is the state of life. What is youth? Are all youth powerful? Are all youth positive? Are all youth tackling challenging situations? No. There are young smugglers, there are young criminals, there are young thieves, there are young corrupt politicians, there are young bureaucrats who are not doing their service well. So just being a youth does not complete the fact that this youth is going to build something, this youth is a positive youth. So, you being a youth, I would like to say that what makes us different? Why are we different? I think we are all here and we want to do something positive in life. We want to add some value to lives. We want to add some value to our lives, to our society, to our nation. So why are we different than the other people around? We are 40% of this country. We are driving the world. Our innovation, our knowledge, our creativity is actually driving the world today. Why? Why it makes difference? What makes the difference in us? Because we are keen. We are keen to know things. We are keen to know new things. Until and unless we are keen, if you are a youth and you are not keen to know new things, I don't think so you fall in that category of a building youth, of a positive youth. So you have to be keen. The second thing that is an attribute to youth is that we are vibrant. हामी गतिशील छौं. We are vibrant. We don't stop. We don't get stagnant. We don't stop ourselves somewhere and say that, all right, there is someone to do our job. हामी कुनै न कुनै कारणले कुनै न कुनै तरिकाले हामी जीवनमा गतिशील रहन चाहन्छौं. हामी युवा हौं, हामी गतिशील रहन चाहन्छौं. This is what youth can do. Youth can bring 700 people under one roof for this motivating seminar. This is what youth can do. And you see, there are small agendas, there are big agendas. When there are people, there are politicians, there are leaders who are not able to gather 50 people around them. But the power of youth, the power of keen youth, the power of vibrant youth is this. This is a live example of what youth can do. And one more thing that we should always carry with us is the fact that we youth are supposed to be united. And we are youth, we are taken positively all around because of the fact that this word united is always connected to our lives. Yuva भन्ने बित्तिकै युवा एक हुन्छन्, युवा सधैँ they are united. And this is a belief all around the world. I would like to request you all to not to alter this belief that youth are united. We are always united and we shall be united for a cause, for development, for adding value to our lives and the society's life. The other thing I wanted to talk about was that youth have to be open to ideas. We at times say that I discuss some things with my dad. My dad is 65 years old. And somehow I don't get like what he's saying or he doesn't get what I'm saying. That is because he's quite closed with what he thinks. His consciousness, his intellectual level is quite high, but he's not open to ideas. He's already shut that box which has ideas. But we youth, we are quite open to ideas. We express, we communicate in the most simple way. We communicate in the most simple way. I don't think so I have used the vocabulary here. I haven't used any GRE words here, any Oxford Dictionary words here. I am communicating in the most simple way. Because for me, speaking in a language, speaking in English, speaking in Hindi, Nepali, Bhojpuri, that is not something big. The big picture lies in communicating my ideas to you, in expressing my ideas. And if you get those ideas, that is the utmost importance of communication. And we youth, are great communicators because we keep things very simple and we don't make things complex. हामी जटिल पार्दैनौँ, हामी जटिल कुराहरूलाई पनि सरल तरिकाले कम्युनिकेट गर्न सक्छौँ, and that is what makes us youths different than others. And then I would also like to talk about criticisms. I told you we are quite feared about criticisms. आलोचनाको हामी सबैलाई डर हुन्छ. We are always fearing criticism. But who is our biggest critic? हाम्रो सबैभन्दा ठुलो आलोचक को हो? Can someone tell me who is our biggest critic or who is your biggest critic? Ourselves, society, our thought. I agree with all. But I would like to say that the biggest critic, they stay right between two of our ears. यो दुईटा कानको बिचमा हाम्रो सबैभन्दा ठुलो आलोचक बसिरहेको हुन्छ. It's our brain. It's our mind. That's always criticizing us. And that criticism somehow, what does it do? It stops us. It stops my hand from moving. It stops my feet from moving. It stops me from Sorry. And now, how do we take it? How do we take criticisms? If there is someone who is trying to do something in life, there is someone who wants to change what the status quo. Status quo is what is the existing situation. For example, what Birgunj is right now is status quo. If you want to work on the status quo, you want to change from status quo to something different, it needs courage. It needs a lot of courage to do something, to add some value, to change. But it needs more courage on the other person to encourage that person who is showing some courage. That courage lacks in our society. To encourage someone, you need more courage. To get support from someone, it is not possible on everyone's part to support someone who is brave enough to do something new, to add some value, to do things to his society. So here, what you have to think is that if there is a racing car, if I'm on a car race, you see there is a track, there is a path, a zigzag path where the car moves. And if I focus not on the track but on the walls that are around the track, somehow my car at a speed of 200 miles per hour is going to crash with the wall. So these critics, these criticisms, these people who are constantly criticizing you, or our own thoughts that criticize us, they are like these walls where the car crashes. So for you to overcome these criticisms, you have to move forward. You have to focus on the path. You have to focus on the path to reach the finish line. So I would like to tell you that take constructive criticisms in a positive way, but do not always focus on criticism. And we have a tendency to stick our mind in criticism. हामी आलोचनाको बारेमा बढी सोच्छौं, and we do not focus more on praises. कसैले हाम्रो बढाइ गरिरहेछ, कसैले हाम्रो गुणको बारेमा, राम्रो गुणको बारेमा बोलिरहेछ भने त्यो कुरालाई हामीले त्यति ध्यान दिदैनौं. तर कसैले हाम्रो बारेमा नराम्रो भनिरहेको छ भने त्यो कुरा हामी सधैँ आफ्नो दिमागमा राख्छौं. एउटा भनाइ छ नि, सबसे बडा रोग भन्छ नि, क्या सोचेंगे लोग. यो सबसे बडा रोग क्या सोचेंगे लोग. This, I really don't want you people to come and carry this disease with you when we are moving forward. And to do this, you have to have a tough mind, mental toughness. You see why leaders are different than other people, or why great leaders are different. They are very tough with their mind. They face challenges in the toughest possible way. And there is nothing as big that can move their vision, that can move their thoughts, that can move them from driving forward. The other thing that I would like to talk about is, which would be quite relevant, and it is quite relevant to youth in Birgunj. When I see, like, I've been interacting with a lot of youth around Birgunj, even in the most rural parts of Birgunj, and I see that our education system is quite good, not bad enough. And I've seen youths around the world, and I see we are quite competent in that sense. We lack nowhere when it comes to European youth or American youth. We are quite competent. But there are some cosmetic things within us that lacks. And one very important thing that I wanted to talk about was body language. You know, when we meet someone and we get the first impression, 55% of that impression we get from someone. तपाईले कसैलाई भेट्दाखेरि 55% impression कहाँबाट आउँछ? It's from that person's body language, non-verbal expression. बिना बोलेर उसले आफ्नो बडीबाट जुन एक्सप्रेसन देखाइरहेछ, that gives you 55% of the impression. 7% of the impression you get is from spoken words. मैले बोलेको कुरा जम्मा 7% प्रभाव पार्छ यसले. 55% मेरो body language, how I am moving, how I am standing, how I am moving my hands, how I am walking, these things really matter. And I see we are quite lacking in these things. We are quite focusing on what we have to speak, and there is 38% impression that is made by the way we speak. हाम्रो टोनले धेरै फरक पर्छ. So you see, the most important part in creating an impression, in creating an impact when you are communicating, when you are trying to exert authority, when you are trying to lead, when you are trying to talk with someone you know, someone you don't know, it is your body language. And we are so unaware of our body language. We are doing things deliberately or undeliberately without knowing that what message it gives, but it definitely gives some message. The first thing in body language we have to be very sure about is our posture. I am standing like this and talking to you in a very firm, rigid posture. What if I talk to you like this? This somehow gives an impression that this person is not a confident person. The other thing, my movements. There is a way you move everywhere. Like this is a very formal event. This is a training event where I am moving like this. What if I move like this? What impression do I give? So this is body language. The third thing, gaze. Gaze. How we look into the other person's eyes. That's so important. I think a lot of you know how to look into someone's eyes. It depends on which situation you are in. If I am talking, I'm in a meeting and I look at the person like this, what impression it gives? That is a wrong body language. You have to be confident, you have to look into the other person's eyes. Your communication, the ways you are speaking, it goes through the eyes, but it should not be a literal gaze. You don't stare at people. You don't look at people from top to bottom. You have to maintain the level of gaze, the quality of gaze that you deliver. Gesticulation. Gesticulation is our hand movement. Imagine your neighbor dies with her husband, and you are talking to the guy whose wife just died. And how do you communicate? What should be your gesture, gesticulation? You don't say, "Oh, your wife died." No, you don't say that. There is a very formal way of communicating, right? So your gestures are something very important when you are talking. If you are in a disco, you do this, that's okay. If you're in a concert, you bang your head, that's okay. But if you are in a situation where there is a demise of someone, you don't do this or bang your head. So gestures, gesticulations, my hand movements. A very powerful way to give you a nice tip on this, a very powerful way of communicating your message is showing your hand. Showing your hand. This somehow shows your honesty, you're open with your ideas, and you are quite faithful person. You see great speakers generally open up their hand and show it there. If you do this, if you're hiding your hand, there is something that you're hiding. There is your inconfidence that is not coming up to the public. So this is a very nice way of speaking. Even if you're presenting, if you're giving an interview, you can show your hand. That is a positive message. Your face expression, it has to be pleasant. Our face expression. Sometimes you see, we have professors in our colleges, or we have teachers, and they have plethora of knowledge with them. They are talking a lot of thinks about the subject, they can answer you any question, but their face expression sometimes does not motivate us. हँसिलो मुहार हामी देख्दैनौँ, confident मुहार देख्दैनौँ, and that somehow demotivates you. So for you to be inspiring, for you to really lead, for you to be positive, you have to work on your face expression. And then the physical appearance. I think that is something we all quite focus. हामी धेरै ध्यान दिन्छौँ. हामी के लुगा लगाइरहेछौँ, कस्तो जुत्ता लगाइरहेछौँ, how is our hairstyle, how our eyes looking. That is important, but that is not something to be hyped about. I don't tell you, I don't ask you to wear branded clothes, to wear expensive watches, to wear expensive jewelry. But be simple, tidy, neat, and simple in what you're doing. So you have to concentrate on your physical appearance everywhere you go. You see, when you go to some formal events, there are dress codes. Even though there are no dress codes, you go to a wedding and there is no dress code. But still, you don't wear your track pants and your t-shirt and go to a wedding. You wear something cultural or something formal. So you have to focus on that. It has to be quite appropriate with where you are going. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was living our life consciously. How many of us think that we are conscious enough, or we are living our life consciously? Are we conscious? Why are we not conscious? Why do we gain education? Like, why are we studying? Why are we getting degrees? Why are we interacting? Why do we want motivation? Why do we want inspiration? Exactly, to be conscious. But even though we have a lot of PhD holders, even though we have a lot of degree holders in Birgunj, or let's say in Parsa, we have a lot of professors, teachers, great people. But why does Birgunj not become great? Somehow, what we lack in our society is we lack conscious minds. You see, you are quite well dressed up, you are walking in the street, you have a biscuit and throw the wrapper in the street. Why do you do that? Because you are not conscious. You are not conscious. Being conscious is understanding yourself, understanding the surrounding, understanding the environment, and understanding the impact of your activities, of your words on the whole surrounding. That is what is being conscious all about. I keep saying in all my lectures, I keep saying in all my speeches, that getting education and being educated are two completely different things. Two completely different things. We have got a lot of education, you can get a lot of degrees, you can get educated in the best of universities, but that is mere getting education. Matra शिक्षा हासिल गर्नु हो तर शिक्षित हुनु भनेको that is a challenging thing, that is completely different, that is being conscious. So I hope we all when we get out of this hall, we would feel deep in our heart, deep within ourselves, that we are educated. We are not just degree holders, we are not just people who go to colleges and schools, but we are educated. हामी शिक्षित हुनुको अनुभूत गर्न चाहन्छौं र आजदेखि यदि तपाईले गर्नुभएको छ भने आजैदेखि अनुभूत गर्नुस् कि तपाई यो समाजको शिक्षित व्यक्ति हुनुहुन्छ. And then comes this whole picture of consciousness, and then we can see a conscious Birgunj, and we can see a conscious nation. So work on consciousness. I told you, on your spoken words, on your activities, on what you do to others. How many of us, how often do we say thank you? How often do we say please? How often do we open the door of our cars for someone? We don't do that. Come on, that's polite, but we don't do that. Why? Because we are not conscious. We have to be conscious. We have to do that. Thank you, please, sorry, being gentle. These are all things that somehow prove you to be educated, and we are educated. We shall do that. You should promise me that you're going to do that after today. And the other thing, now I come to the main thing, that is motivation. What do motivated people do, or what motivates us? What can motivate you? There are different reasons, different ways in which we can get motivated. There is a guy who comes to his wife from his office and he gets a flower for his wife. His wife opens the door and he presents a flower to his wife. His wife becomes so happy, she's blushing. She says, "Oh my God, my husband loves me so much. He's so romantic, he got a flower for me. Thank you so much." But this husband says that, "Oh, sorry, I had to pay my bill to the taxi, I didn't have change, so I bought a flower." You see, buying flowers, there can be different motivation to buy flowers. There is a guy who buys flower for his love, to express his love. And there is this guy who buys flower because he needs change to pay to the taxi driver. I don't blame someone for having different reasons to be motivated. But these lectures, classes, teachers, books, experiences, these are all bits that can motivate you. But the biggest motivator is within you, within yourself. You have to motivate yourself to do something, to move, to get inspired. And how do you do it? Like, what is the key? You say you get out of here and then you want to live a very motivated life. You just do it. Motivated people just do things. They don't think about it. They just do it. They do it even before, long before they are ready to do it. You see, there are young guys who are starting a big empire. And you keep thinking that, how is this possible? How did this happen? What motivated them? So the first fact that motivated them was the fact that they did it. केही कुरा गरिहाल्नुपर्छ, कुनै कुराको लागि कुरेर तपाईं बस्नुहुन्छ कि तपाईले कहीँबाट मोटिभेसन पाउनुहुन्छ भनेर, that you definitely gonna get late for that. The other thing, consistency, rituals. We have to follow a definite ritual. You talk to any great leaders in this world, you talk to any great leader in your society, you will notice something, that they are consistently being ritual towards their activities. It could be like, there are different people who like to wake up 5 in the morning, people who like to wake up 9 in the morning. No judgments. You are living your life, you are leading your life. But even though you wake up early or late, you have to have a ritual in your life. When you consistently practice that ritual, that is something very motivating, very inspiring, that can really change your life, and that is something that leads to the definite outcome that you are looking for. Two problems that we really face today, and our Chief District Officer, he pointed out this thing, that we youth are quite carried away with materialism. The physical possession of goods, money, power, or things that we see the other people have, like someone has a car and I need a car, someone has a bike, I need a bike, someone is wearing a nice shoe, I need a shoe, someone has a girlfriend, I need a girlfriend. No. So that is something very materialistic. What you have to live is with your ethical needs, ethical values, and your spiritual values. These materialistic things that we can aspire for, that is something anyone can get. And there is a huge gap that is being created these days. The gap is between what we desire to get and between the input that we give. We are trying to work less. हामी कम काम गर्न चाहन्छौं, कम मेहनत गर्न चाहन्छौं, तर हामी धेरै कुरा पाउने इच्छा राख्छौं. I think that you should really work on that. You should try to lessen the gap. बढी भन्दा बढी काम गर्न चाहनु र कम भन्दा कम materialistic aspirations राख्नु. I think that is the key. You can just live a life of values, you can just live a life of ethical and spiritual needs, and these material things just come up somewhere in life. Don't aspire for material things. तपाई कुनै काम गाडी किन्नलाई नगर्नुस्, तपाई कुनै काम बैंक ब्यालेन्स बनाउनलाई नगर्नुस्, घर बनाउनलाई नगर्नुस्. So I think this is all I can tell you with what my experiences are, what I have learned. I think this seminar, this lecture is somehow, I hope, this lecture, which has been organized by a very young team, this is something that has to be appreciated with a loud round of applause. I would like to applause for these people who have really done this. And I totally am assured, I'm assured that we are a bunch of 700 people, highly motivated people, highly inspired people, and we are here to live our life, to lead our life, to do something within our lives, to add value to our lives, to add value to the society where we're living, and to add value to this nation that has given us all that we have today. Thank you so much. Thanks.